a journey of home renovation and maintenance. Welcome to Maintaining 18. Tropical Storm Isaias led to unexpected maintenance. A tree fell, and the reason was not entirely natural. The house was unharmed but flattened the neglected garden. Some damage to the garden is due to deer. Bambi is cute but eats your curb appeal. Getting the reciprocating saw ready for the task with a pruning blade.
Saw is ready!
The plan is to turn this tree into firewood by cutting 12 to 18-inch segments, starting from the branches to the trunk. This is fitting as the collection of yard waste has been scaled to infancy. The smaller branches are going to be discarded. Those are the ones just cut with the leaves. The cuts so far have been clean and quick. As the cuts get closer to the trunk, they take longer. This is expected. Time to be like a pro. Some dry lube would help speed things along, and it did. Felt like using a chainsaw. The cuts are going well. Great. This process was a family experience. As the cuts were made, the younger members of the tribe gathered the wood and packed the wood. The process went very quickly. I split while cutting a section of the trunk. The length of the cuts at this point are shortened. At this point, the pole saw is used to make faster cuts. What remains of the trunk is being supported by two branches. The carefree cutting is coming to a close. I notice mosquitoes tend to disappear after a storm. The tools being used are powered by electricity. Electricity went out. This presented a problem. Nevertheless, investing in gas tools at this point for this purpose is not a good idea. When there is a power cut, the thought of getting a generator comes to mind. Backup power is a solution, but a generator is a default. Getting a generator should be well planned out. For the 18th, heating systems, cooling systems, lights are powered by electricity. Heating and cooling take a lot of energy, which means a whole house system, about a 22 kilowatt. A generator requires maintenance. A transfer switch has to be installed in addition to the generator. More on the cost later. The debate of having a generator has come, and a decision is being delayed until the next power outage. This is the last support branch. The cuts cannot be made entirely through without binding the blade. A series of relief cuts are created. This will make it easier later on, continuing to work down the tree trunk. Hours watching Chuck Norris flicks have some value. A series of cuts were made. Typically, these types of cuts are called relief cuts. The cuts cannot be made all the way through because the blade would bind. Therefore, the cuts are made just about halfway or a little over halfway through. Due to the relief cuts, a portion of the log was resting on the ground. This provided support, allowing a clean cut to sever a large chunk of the log. There are logs on the ground. These need to be cut in more manageable pieces so that the younger member of the tribe can move them to the next storage location. These are very easy to cut once on the ground, and the chainsaw coming into contact with the dirt was not a problem. The split in the tree traveled several feet. What remains of a tree is now being cut. And there's an advantage. The logs that will be firewood are already split. Less axe swinging. By the time I got to the end, the pole saw had begun to suffer. It took several attempts to get it going, and eventually the chain came loose. Half the oil was used. Fortunately, its purpose was complete. There are other adventures with the pole saw to check out. I better look at the damage before the cuts were made. What started out as relief cuts were completed with a reciprocating saw, and that brought this unexpected maintenance to a close. The garden is in bad shape, and this year the usual dressing was skipped. Episodes on the garden are forthcoming. An electric vehicle would have been great. At 100 kilowatts, the car can power your home for a day and maybe a week, depending on usage. For a 22 kilowatt system, the advertised cost is approximately $4,000. Additional fees are installation and fuel. A fuel tank may need to be installed. The last power outage was a week. Food costs ran $50 a meal, and how limited the choices are. Time and being worn coincide. Any day that passes and upkeep is not done, property value begins to suffer. This day was not that day. The day is one.
Thanks for watching, and keep safe and subscribe.